Hi, welcome back. It's like I live in your computer screens now. So, like anything in life, what you put into it typically determines what you get out of it. And how we instruct LLMs is no different. We know this is a huge area, and we're super excited to have a bit of a dream prompting team. I've made that up. That is the thing now. Interestingly, Emma thought that the way of the world would be that we get rid of prompting, and it would have been nice to have some time to discuss that because I just don't think we're quite there yet. So it'll be interesting to hear what these guys say. So first up, we've got Paul. Now, Paul is amazing. He is one of the industry's leading experts in media and video. He's currently head of generative AI at ITV, which is one of the UK's largest TV networks. I know there's lots of people dialing in from across the world. We've been super lucky, but ITV is basically another BBC. So thank you so much, Paul, for joining us and kicking us off. Shub. Now, if you've got any tech questions, Shub is your man. His background is computer science, and he has extensive experience in SAP, and he's worked with loads of big brands like Toyota, and now he's doing more and more into healthcare. Now, Pallavi. Pallavi is medical advisor for Oncology at Ipsen. She's been doing some amazing work in AI, and she has a job to do with this discussion because she needs to keep it grounded and keep it in pharma. Right, so I'm going to send this over to you now, guys. Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Right, what have you got for us, Paul? You're starting with a bit of a negative, bad prompting.
Yeah, so, well, I come from the media world, so I thought I'd bring this into a more kind of medical kind of angle. So symptoms of bad prompting. So let's have a look. So what I'm doing is I'm always training up ITV users and how to use these tools and how to use them correctly. And what we found is some of these issues are what probably prop up most and that cause people not to use the tools. So the usual suspects we get are no context, treating like Google, vague instructions, too many tasks at once, no examples, and not iterating. So today I'm going to look at a couple of these and work out how we can kind of treat them, solve them, yeah? So what is good to do is always use frameworks. So there's plenty of frameworks out there. Look them up online. A couple of them are like TAG, so task, action, goal, or REX, role, example, expectation. And what frameworks do is kind of give the large language model kind of parameters to stick to, and you'll find that you'll get better results. So here, what I've done is I've created a framework for the medical field, DOSE. So what I've got here is define the outcome and the reader. Now I've got only allow sources. So this you could then say if you're putting in documents, only allow this source or only look here. And then structure. So we find giving your prompts structure, what that does is allows the user to understand what the large language model is giving back easier. So it's really helpful. And then evidence. So if you want to get rid of these kind of hallucinations, ask it to provide evidence. So try and always stick to a framework, be it this one or other ones you can find online. So let's have a look at some other prompts. Let's go back there. I think I've moved across too quickly. Apologies. So when you skip context, because context is really important, the model has to guess and has to guess your job, your role, the reader, and the rules. And the more it's guessing, the more errors you're getting. So on the left here, I've got a bad prompt that says kind of summarize this document. So what I wanted to do is kind of define it. So like act as a medical affairs analyst and condense this for non-tech pharma leads. So there I'm already telling it like who you are and who the audience is, and then you'll find out you'll get so much better results. Because if you didn't define it there, this could go off and it could act as a plumber, and that would be no good for your request. So let's have a look at the next slide. So this is happening quite only for beginners, I feel, but everyone kind of treats it a bit like Google. And what you get then is you get kind of it roams a bit and moves around. So don't chat it like Google. Follow kind of this framework and give it a job, a source, and a form, and then you'll see it won't miss as much. So I think that's kind of what you need to do is always follow these frameworks. Let's have a look at the next slide. And not iterating. So what I think a lot of users forget is once you've defined this, you've give it a source that it can always reply to, and structure. You don't chat to it. This is a chat. So like constantly talk to it, and when it gives you that summary, ask it more questions, and you can be really clever with it. We found it's quite good for creativity. So when you've got your answer, you can then say, like, well, what would a CEO think of this? What would a fourth century sailor think of this? And you can get really creative and interesting answers. And in this prompt here, I've kind of staged it so it's kind of stopping and starting and only carrying on once I've given it the answers. And then you're interacting with it, and you'll find it's way more powerful. And with that as well, what we always say at ITV is have this CEO mindset. So when you're dealing with large language models, always check, edit, and own these outputs. So if you're just taking the summary and going off and giving it to somebody else and it's incorrect, that's on you. So always remember to check it, edit, and own it before kind of moving on. And that's it from me. Really quick kind of intro. I'll pass on.
Thank you, Paul. Can you guys hear me? Okay, yeah, perfect. So next step is like, thank you for all those insights. It makes really a lot of sense, and that's like the basic stuff which we teach anyone who uses LLMs in any use case. The generative AI which we have, it's changing every day and it's very powerful. But it's important to know that it's only as good as we ask the questions. It's a new programming language, and it's kind of spans around all the industry right now. Every single word, phrase, question, symbol, or like even as small as a comma, which we post, it makes or it shapes what AI understands. So effectively, all I'm trying to say here is you have to be very clear. Think about it as teaching to your colleague or someone who will do the job for you. Clarity equals quality. The more clear you are in asking the LLMs for whatever you're looking for, the better is the quality of the response you get. At at Qubittron, we focus on effective techniques of using all the models where it's any kind of large language model, and we kind of have built a structure around how to make sure that the prompts are ethical and efficient and very effective. What I mean with that is the better you are in the way you ask the language model, whether it's whatever tool that you're using at your organization, the better output you'll get. The answers will be more accurate, fewer wasted tokens. And I'm going to speak about this, why it is important. And the last thing is we often forget the fact that when we make it more accurate, we'll be using like lower energy. And that kind of brings it to the fact that we help the AI become more and more sustainable. People often forget, okay, I'm going to just use this for XYZ reason, but if you don't do it properly, all these models, they are hosted somewhere in the cloud and they're using some kind of electricity or some kind of leaving some kind of carbon footprint. And the better we make it, the better it is for our environment, for our Earth. How large language models think, it's before we get into the we show you the specifics, it's important to understand how they think. Large language models in its own, what they're good at is predicting. They have seen a lot of text around, like whether it's from medical field, whether it's from pharma field. They have read a lot of documents, or they have been trained on a lot of documents, and they're good at predicting what is the next word. Considering that I have these 6 words which the user has asked, what's the next word that they're going to be putting there? And that's what they're good at, nothing else. They don't recollect facts. They don't understand the facts as accurately. And that's why we say that how we ask it, it kind of impacts how you get the response. Token is the new currency. Now, what that means is each token, they are like, think of it that you ask a question in 5 words. So you're using, I'm just making it simple. You're using 5 tokens and you get a response in, I don't know, 200 words. You're consuming 200 tokens. So it's 205 tokens which we used in a prompt. And each of those tokens can be directly related to power and energy. So like I have stated before, a good prompt uses fewer tokens and it's a faster response. And you will see in one of the example, which we're going to show really quickly, it will lead to lower cost and also reduce the carbon footprint. Now, how do we speak? I've told you about various techniques and stuff. How do we actually do this? How do we make prompting for precision, safety, and sustainability? An efficient prompt is a good prompt. Now, like Paul just mentioned about what a good prompt may look like, you have to structure your ask, define the role, like those framework which Paul introduced as well. Like define the role when you're asking something, that act as a medical researcher, add some context to your question based on WHO 2024 guidelines, and specify what exactly you're looking for. That summarize the top 3 findings in 100 words. By doing this, you will see that there is a 40 to 60% fewer tokens consumed, sharper and very verifiable response, which also improves your credibility. Whoever you're sharing this output with, whether it's a physician, a doctor, or a medical researcher, or a partner in the industry. And all of this kind of leads to lowering the energy footprint. I keep reinstating the fact because that's we did a survey, and that's one of the things which people often discount or not even consider, that AI is also consuming a lot of electricity, a lot of energy in the world, and it's also leaving a carbon footprint. So again, coming to conclude this slide, it's efficient prompt means sustainable AI. Now, today we'll show you a quick demo, and we are using Qubittron AI for this. What we will do is, there is a publication from New England Journal of Medicine, and the use case is a medical researcher or medical science liaison who is new in the industry or in the company. They have to summarize this in a PowerPoint for a doctor. And why we're using Qubittron AI? Because it's private by design. The data never goes outside the environment of what you're using it. It never uses whatever you are doing to train the models. Your models are always staying with you, and all the trainings as well. And it's safe for enterprises. So that's why we advocate, in addition to the sustainable AI, we advocate for safe and secure AI as well. And last of all, everything, it's a sustainable AI model. So I'll get to the next slide. Here you can see the model. It's a QB AI is uploading. It's a bad prompting, just taking into the journal, and it's asking you to summarize. No context given, nothing specified, nothing like act as a medical researcher. You can see it does summarize the document. It's a big document. It is getting a lot of data outside of it. But do you really want to say this or share this with the doctor? No, doctor already knows these things. As a medical science liaison or a researcher, your job is to make sure you're able to have the data, extract what is important, and then create a like a slideshow for the doctor. So that's one example of a bad prompting. And like just adding to what Paul said, if we add more specificity, if we add the context, and if we add the guardrails around what we're going to ask, you will see the result very different right now. So now you see on the screen, I've changed the prompt from just summarize this document to I'm a new medical science liaison and I have to make a 3-slide summary presentation for an oncologist on the attached publication. Summarize the attached phase 3 trial, include key endpoints, limitations of the study, and use non-promotional scientific tone with citation placeholder. Do not include data from non-peer-reviewed sources. In the end, also include a short summary in the current competitor therapies available for the same patient. So you can see it's very specific. So now you see we'll do it the same way. We'll copy the prompt, we put it here, same document, nothing has changed, and it will start like giving you a better and much faster and more efficient result. It thinks for a bit, of course, all the language model things. So you can see that it's bringing all the data for 3 slides which you have asked. It's only extracting the data which is important for the publication, for the doctor, for the oncologist that we have discussed, and it's kind of filtering out. I wouldn't call it noise. Every information is important in a medical publication, but it is filtering out the data which is not required in this use case. Now, the previous answer was huge. This is also big, but it has limited the number of characters, and it has made a very pinpoint answer to what is like required here. And that way, like I'm bringing the circle back. If you are very specific, if you are focused on the context and tell the prompt what you're looking for, you're able to kind of get a better output, and as a result also help in the sustainability of the world as well, because less energy is consumed. And one additional thing is that the less tokens is what we pay for all the models around the world, whether it's without calling the names, any model you use, tokens are how you're priced with. So if you are using those judicially, if it was your own money, you'll not spend it like, you'll spend it always wisely, right? And that's what we're trying to say. Use the prompts wisely, and that's how you'll get the better consumption of the tokens and better consumption, and it lead to a sustainable AI as well. With this, I will hand my mic to Dr. Pallavi.
Pallavi, I think you're muted and we can't hear you. Can you say something? So this is just proof that it is live, guys. No, we still can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. If you could start from the start, that would be amazing. Cool.
Perfect. So sorry for the interruption. And so, yeah, I was talking about why, so Shub and Paul just taught us what good prompting is, what bad prompting is, what the sustainability behind good prompting looks like, why is it critical, why should it be done, what are the technical aspects of prompting, and why is prompt designing, why does it matter in general? And I think I'm going to really bring it back and close the loop on why it matters in medical affairs. So role of prompt designing, I think there are so many different tools that are now being implemented in scientific and medical communication. Like, I think AI and AI tools are becoming a part of our day-to-day activities. More and more organizations are adapting it. And I think we need to be aware of what are the goods and bads of it, and how important it is for us in medical affairs to be aware of it and make sure that we utilize it in the best possible manner. I think the importance of effective prompting is to ensure accuracy, compliance, which is a very, very big component for pharma in general, and also for the scientific integrity, which is super critical for someone in medical affairs. I think scientific integrity and credibility is something that is held to the epitome for someone working in medical affairs. And I think when we are using these AI tools, we want to make sure that whatever data we are getting out of it is scientifically accurate and it is credible. There are many differences between using generic AI tools and using something for medical affairs specific applications. If I have to summarize it, I think it's a very layman way of saying garbage in, garbage out. The more clarity, the more specificity you provide in your prompt, it will determine the accuracy or the medical accuracy and the compliance of the outcome that you get from that tool. Some of the key considerations, I'm not going to go too much into it because I think Paul and Shub have already touched a little bit on it, is really being very specific. Providing the constraints. For example, when Shub was giving an example of that, of a good prompt, he specified that you're looking for information within 3 slides. So really emphasizing on facts where you're providing constraints to your prompt and making sure that you're getting an output which is sufficient enough for your audience or for whoever you want to make that presentation to. Requesting for reasoning, asking it to rationalize the step-by-step approach, making sure that they're using the right data, making sure that you're specifying that they only use peer-reviewed literature if you're doing a literature search, for example, and then role assignment, so that the model can actually understand what type of information is needed, where is it coming from. The role and the context can dramatically improve the accuracy and the relevance of the output that you're going to get from your prompt. The next, some of the applications, and I know this is a very busy slide, I just want to highlight that the application of AI and prompt designing in medical affairs is enormous. You can go from medical information, scientific communication. It is also relevant for field personnel such as an MSL. It can be very beneficial for positions such as medical advisors for medical strategy. It can help you generate evidence from literature which is already on the public domain to help define your strategy and help making something more impactful. And I think prompt designing allows medical teams to automate redundant tasks. So tasks which are of low value, but still keep the scientific and the ethical rigor in things that you are implementing these AI tools into. I think one I really want to take the time to emphasize on this slide is really compliance and ethical guardrails are very, very important for medical affairs. As I had already mentioned, credibility and ethically being on top of the work that you're doing is super important for us in medical affairs. We should always try to encompass aspects of avoiding generating off-label, promotional, and patient-identifiable content. So really making sure, as you had mentioned in Shubhendu's example of a good prompt, that you want to emphasize that the way the content is being created or the output that you're getting from your prompt is non-promotional. It should not incorporate information which is off-label, and also it should not identify a patient in the content that is generating. It is also super important from a medical affairs standpoint that there is a human oversight. We can ask the prompt to give us information. We can use these tools to give us information, but we should keep someone or a human aspect of having a medical review of those content and making sure that there is no incorrect information that is being generated from it. Handling citation verifications, double checking the resources. I think these are all unsaid aspects which we should always keep in mind when we are looking at using of these AI tools in medical affairs. Using a secure AI platform. I think these generic AI tools are not ready to be implemented in prime time. AI can assist, but it cannot replace the scientific accountability. And I think that human aspect and human oversight in medical affairs is still super critical. Prompting on a public model with internal and unpublished data can actually breach confidentiality. And I've highlighted that in red because this is a super, super important aspect for us to keep in mind. And which is why we should try to use secure enterprise AI systems as what was mentioned by Shubhendu, where you are using a more tailored system within your organization to do these aspects. So some of the key takeaways is for prompt designing for me is it is important for us to have AI literacy. It is also important for us to make sure that we are medically compliant and we are also taking accountability of the scientific data that is being generated by these AI tools. We should always define the role, audience, and the intent in our prompt to make sure that we get the right information out of these tools. Using AI for drafting and summarization is great, but it is there needs to be a final medical review done by a person to make sure that there is accountability of the content. And also you can use these prompts repeatedly, like you can build prompt templates that can be used again and again, and you don't have to generate a new prompt every single time. In the end, I think I just want to emphasize on the fact that we should always maintain transparency and accountability in all AI-generated work that we're doing for medical affairs.
Lovely. Hi, guys. First question's for you, Pallavi. At Ipsen, how much do your medical colleagues trust the LLMs and what they're getting out from it? Because I know, like from some of the work that I've been doing, we've seen a bit of a lag from medical teams in their uptake. So I'm just wondering, I'm wondering what it's like at Ipsen.
So I think it's a mixed emotion. I think for medical affairs, even at Ipsen and previous several companies or organizations that I've been associated in pharma, there is always mixed uptake. There are some people who are still skeptical about using AI and AI tools and LLMs for work that is being done. But I think the best way to approach it is really building the confidence. Providing them the knowledge and providing them the training to understand how they can use it in a compliant, in an ethical manner. I think the biggest concern for most of the people within pharma to use AI is A, sharing confidential information, and B, really not trusting the data that is coming out from it. And that's kind of what summarizes this whole talk for us is really, it goes down to how good your prompt is. If your prompt is specific, if you are able to provide those ethical aspects into your prompt, and you are confident that the data that is coming as an output from that AI tool is ethical, then the credibility really goes up. And I think that is important for us to do, and that's how you train people who are the non-believers. And I think you really have to keep showing it to them that what you're getting as an output is going to be good enough.
Amazing. And I'm just going to bring Paul in quickly for that, because I know, Paul, that you spend loads of time training. And I think I was surprised by the amount of training you do in ITV. I think sometimes in pharma companies, we do like one a year and we're like, we're done. Hey, we've ticked that box, we're trained. But with AI, it's constantly changing. And I think you said to me that you were training people like, once a week? Can you tell us a little bit more about the training you're doing at ITV and keep it very quick?
Yeah, we do basic prompting. So once a week, we do a drop-in session once a week too, where you can ask an expert, and then monthly sessions for different tools and different aspects of it. Could be image generation or video generation.
Amazing.
But I think and the rules are constantly changing, so you always need to update your training and keep going and keep learning from each other. And we have a champions network where we bring in the best of each department and get them talking to each other.
Nice, nice. And Shub, quick one for you. Can you use AI to improve your AI prompts?
Yes, definitely you can. Actually, it's the term is called AI agent. So you can build AI agents around just helping you with like defining prompts for specific use cases. So they will only be focused on those things. You can train it, and it's already being done in a lot of places.
Amazing. Thanks so much, guys. Thank you.